Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, we have limited time. I'm just going to get right into it. I want to start with the crisis at the border. Recently, the Biden administration canceled asylum cooperation agreements and remained in Mexico. Since that time, we've seen a massive surge of migrants crossing and causing a crisis at our southern border. Why did the president rescind these agreements that were supported by our neighbors to the south?
Thank you. As a general matter, I really want to defer to my colleague, Ali Mayorkas at DHS to deal with questions on immigration. I would just say with regard to those agreements, only one of them was actually in effect with Guatemala. You're correct that all three were rescinded. But the President is determined that we have a safe, orderly, and humane border. There's a lot of work that goes into making it such. It's going to take time to do that, and we very much look forward to working with Congress to try to achieve that, to have a rational asylum process, to have a refugee program that works once again to the best traditions of our country, and to make sure, again, that the border is safe, it is orderly, but it is also humane. But as I said, this takes time to do. In the meantime, we've also been very clear in saying to people, do not come to the United States now. Do not attempt irregular migration. You will not.
Well, my time is, I'll question the Secretary of Homeland Security next week, but yeah. The messaging has been a little mixed, and I think it appears to be, we're open. And I live in a border state. I was a federal prosecutor. When you send that message down there, they're going to come, and they are coming, and it has created a humanitarian crisis down there. We have so many children that we cannot even detain right now. So let me move on to Nord Stream 2. I recently sent you a letter requesting additional sanctions on the 15 entities reportedly working on Nord Stream 2 pipeline. As you know, these sanctions are mandatory. So my question is, and they're about 90% ready to complete this project, will you commit to submitting new sanctions on these 15 additional entities as soon as possible?
So on Nord Stream 2, a couple of things at the outset, just to be very, very clear. President Biden thinks it's a bad idea. He said so repeatedly. I share his view. It violates the European Union's own energy security principles. It jeopardizes the economic and strategic situation for Ukraine, for Poland as well. And so he opposes it. We oppose it. We'll continue to do so. I've been on the job, I think, 5 weeks. The pipeline is 95% complete. Construction started in 2018. So I wish we didn't find ourselves in the situation with a pipeline that's virtually complete.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think sanctioning these 15 entities would be great. On Iran, I think negotiations are always best from a position of strength. You know that as a diplomat. President Trump imposed a maximum pressure campaign that I believe gives us leverage as you go into these discussions. Sir, will you commit to me and to this committee that you will formally consult with us before lifting any sanctions on Iran?
Yeah, we're determined to consult on the takeoff, not on the landing, across the board. But yes, particularly when it comes to Iran, if there is any movement on this, and thus far there hasn't been, yes, we will do so. And by the way, not just Congress is the first stop, but also allies, partners, including allies and partners in the region who have their own concerns and own interests at stake.
Well, I think you have the leverage, and I wouldn't let up on it. I don't trust the Ayatollah. I don't know how you can possibly negotiate with the Ayatollah. I commend you for trying to, as we also try to negotiate with the Taliban. I think these are two most difficult organizations to negotiate with, and so I wish you the best on that effort. It's a big challenge, as you know. On China, you've testified yourself that genocide is occurring in China, and I agree with you, and so does Congress, and so did the previous administration. We labeled it genocide. We put sanctions on individuals and entities responsible for these crimes against humanity. What additional steps are you prepared to take to stop this genocide?
A number of things, and I share that view. I share the deep concern about it. I think there are a number of things that we can do, should do, and will do. First of all, it's important to speak up and speak out, and to make sure that other countries are doing the same thing. The more China hears not just our opprobrium, but a chorus of opprobrium from around the world, the better the chance that we'll get some changes. We have a number of steps that we have taken or can take going forward, to include, for those directly responsible for acts of genocide, gross human rights violations, sanctions, visa restrictions, et cetera. I think it would be very important, if China claims that there is nothing going on, that it give access to the international community, to the United Nations. If they have nothing to hide, show it to us, show the world. And so we'll be calling for that. And then I think there are a series of practical things that are very, very important. For example, we should make sure that we are not exporting, and others are not exporting to China, any products that can be used for the repression of their people and their minorities. Similarly, we shouldn't be bringing into this country products that are created by forced labor, including from Xinjiang. So those are some of the practical things that we can and should do, but for sure we're going to start by speaking out forcefully on this.
Thank you, sir.